Hello guys, and if you managed to stick with us through the YouTube fun time from Bass, our producer, we are back with our second semi-finals here for the EUS Challenger Series, number 6. It's day number 2, but we're already way through the bracket because, of course, tomorrow are our DreamHack qualifiers. I am Dignitas Stress, I am joined by Spuddington, and we are into Champion Select for the game between Benched and the Dongsquad.
Yes, I noticed you put the there in. Don't know if that was necessary, but the Dongsquad. It adds a kind of more dramatic feel to the wildly inappropriate name. But yeah, I am here. Hello. Bans are going underway, and I should just mention for the duration of Champion Select, I'm going to be a little bit behind. Stress should be on time, and when I'm in game, I'll be on time. But from what I can see right now, Jarvan ban, Shen ban, Zac ban, Thresh ban. Eh?
Yeah, and I feel somewhat privileged. I never seem to end up being in the lobby, so seemingly they've been kind to me today. Jarvan, Shen, and Zed all banned out on the side of Benched. So pretty much Zed's the only one that we haven't seen in pretty much every game that's been banned. Like, Zed is a fairly common ban himself, but it's more of like a targeted ban towards some of the players on the Dongsquad. And we're just waiting for that last ban to come out as well. But apart from that, you look at Zac, you look at Thresh. All of these bans are pretty standard bans, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Twisted Fate, but it's actually Ryze that gets the last ban. And next up, Benched are flicking through their AD and support. Surprised they wouldn't pick up Twisted Fate here if they don't.
Well, Twisted Fate. Obviously, yeah, Ryze is an interesting ban because it's not one you would usually ban out. Ryze can be relatively easily counterpicked. His early game isn't as special as you'd like. But obviously, if you have someone who knows how to play him, if you know someone who knows how to kind of play very cautiously in that early game, and actually could be a ban targeted at Ryze top as well nowadays, which is kind of coming into vogue at the moment. But obviously, if you know someone who knows how to play Ryze, playing that early laning phase cautiously, trading only when it's advantageous, and making sure you don't get ganked, then obviously Ryze develops into that huge powerhouse, farms up forever, becomes a monster. And also, yeah, Zed ban, a little bit interesting. Not something you see so often nowadays. I mean, he was obviously nerfed in that last patch, but obviously there is still a lot of potential for outplays when you're on that Zed. I mean, just flicking between shadows can really mess with people. You can just straight up dodge multiple skill shots if you're really, really solid on that, but it's still a little bit iffy. But I have seen a Jace pickup, which isn't too surprising. We've seen quite a lot of him too, I think.
Ooh, and with the Ezreal being let through again, that's a very poke-heavy composition that's starting to be set up now. They do have to be a little bit careful now because Zuchi has picked up a Malphite, which is one of the ways of pretty much ripping apart a poke composition is you just engage. That's pretty much the way of beating a poke composition, otherwise they're going to just completely poke you down. And Jace and Ezreal are two champions that are very, very good at doing that right now. You see a lot of Jace in the mid lane, has so much damage loaded into that shock blast through the acceleration gate that really he can just wreck you and siege a tower. And of course, we've seen the blue Ezreal build so many times, and that, just lends itself to this kind of team setup.
Yeah, not surprising to see that locked in when they saw the opportunity. You do have to kind of wonder whether Dongsquad baited them here. Picking up that Malphite and Nautilus, both of those characters are famous for being inescapable initiators, essentially. So what they're going to have on this composition, in addition to their poke, is now going to have to be some kind of disengage. I wouldn't be surprised to see them pick up Zyra's support. That would be actually a very, very solid pickup in this potential situation, because obviously if you take Zyra, you want to have that ultimate to put down as a kind of counter engage. If the enemy are all piling in, they are just going to be knocking themselves up, basically, in order to follow up. Obviously, Sejuani pickup can also be used to counter-engage, can also be used to engage if you've managed to poke the enemy down low enough to make it worthwhile as an option. But obviously, versatile champion, strong early game as well. And obviously, these are also good laners. They picked out, at the moment, people that are just going to be generally solid no matter what they're up against. Although, Ezreal versus Caitlyn is only kind of an okay lane. You'd generally rather be playing Caitlyn, at least for the laning phase.
Yeah, and we've seen that Dongsquad have picked up Sona, and that's going to go on top of that Malphite, on top of the Nautilus kind of engage. It's going to give them a lot of CC in these team fights, and I'm starting to get a little bit worried now for Benched. That's not to say that, it's a win in Champion Select or anything, but hard engage is a really good way of counteracting this type of poke composition. We see the last 2 picks up are going to be an Elise and a Zyra. So there is disengage with that Stranglethorns, and Elise, I'm expecting, is going to be top lane Elise by the looks of it. Sejuani, yeah, must be Sejuani in the jungle, top lane Elise with a mid Jace from what I would imagine. So that's still a fairly strong team. I mean, Sejuani's ultimate, as you said, is going to have good engage for them if they want to, and disengage as well. So, I mean, they're more of like they've got more utility now than essentially like a poke team, if that makes sense. They're not pretty much putting poke in every single lane right now. Lego has pretty much waited out to see what his mid lane is going to be, trying to figure out exactly what Benched have picked up, and Lego might actually be looking at picking up Ahri for this game.
Wouldn't surprise me to see that. Obviously, having Ahri is just generally a very, very solid pick. You can run that Ahri pretty much anywhere, and she'll do a very, very well, pretty much anywhere. What I mean is, you can run her kind of as almost anything. She can be like almost like a sustained damage mage. I'm saying this wrong, but essentially Ahri is a very versatile mage. She can play.
Hello, did Spuddington DC there? Am I... Ah, sounds like... Yeah. Yeah, it looks like we all checked TeamSpeak. There we go.
Huh?
I think you're back, Spuddington. You dropped for us for a little second there.
Oh, that's not ideal. So have I returned then? Where was I then when I apparently dropped? It's my internet, isn't it?
We were talking about Ahri and the strength that she's giving. I think you're going to say as well that they've got a lot of single target as well with the Nautilus Dredgeline and the Charm. They can really just capitalize on those any picks off and then look for an advantageous fight.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be hoping that my internet manages to hold on for the duration of the game. But anyway, we should be just going into a quick commercial break now anyway, and I will just see if I can check if anything can be fixed, although at the moment it seems to be working okay. So we'll see you in a minute with the rest of this game.
And you're off.
Hello and welcome back to this semi-final now game, because we are a day early due to the DreamHack qualifiers which should be going on tomorrow. And we are, yeah, as I say, semi-final match here between Benched Gaming and Dongsquad, who have still got that name. And anyway, I am Spuddington. I have been laughing greatly and causing laughter by being confusing in the break with my fellow caster Stress, so I hope he is recovered from his laughter at this point.
I have just about recovered. Break, I wish we could broadcast the break sometimes, but I have a feeling we might get in a little bit of trouble if we did. Nevertheless, as you said, we are here in the semi-finals between the Dongsquad and Benched Gaming. So, Benched we've seen multiple times over multiple weeks. They're a team that have been here before, I'm pretty sure. You know, have played in, I think, everyone that I can remember. Maybe missed out one. Dongsquad, however, this is their first time here in the EUS Challenger Series. Some of the players have played before, looking at the likes of Lego My Ego played, I believe, as a sub for Heimerdinger Colossi in the first week that they won. And of course, Amazing was formerly on Peculiar Gaming, has now joined the Dongsquad. So, that is where we are. We're in game number 1, and both teams look like they're setting up for that pretty much defensive scrimmage line that we see oh so commonly at the beginning of all games.
Yeah, no kind of first blood fishing. They've got that. They've got defensive wards out, and actually at bottom, Nardius is going to take a little bit of damage. They have got that ward in the tri-brush, so you might want to back off there. Actually, probably not going to do that though. He will have to stick around. Dare not risk losing those golems to the opponents, and Dirtgen will come in, probably shove down the ward. Yeah, there we go. Now, obviously, they are aware if Suchi and Pose go for that aggressive invade, although they are actually just kind of camping out in the lane brush, which is not something you tend to see these days so much. And Post did take damage. I think he must have been hit by that Ezreal Q. But anyway, Nardius picking up these golems. The rest of the team are kind of moving away, you would expect. YoloZilla on that Elise looking to go in the top lane. We are going to be seeing Bimbo 8 on Jace in mid.
I just remembered Bimbo's in this game. I'm going to have to be careful I don't slip back to Lord of the Rings again, because that confuses me every game. Nevertheless, as we were kind of expecting, Bimbo is going to be in this mid lane playing Jason. Interestingly enough, he is running teleport, so he's going to have that global pressure out, but also, as we said, Jace just has a lot of poke. I'm very interested to see how this Jace against Ahri matchup is going to go.
It's very, very skill dependent. Actually, in bottom lane, Pose has been grasped. He is going to be getting ignited there, and Nardius has popped the barrier. Suchi backing out. Does look like they're just going to go back to farming, but Nardius is very low. And like he was saying, Ahri is very, very dependent on skill. If she can land that charm, if she can obviously kind of inhibit that attack from Bimbo 8, if he goes, you know, hammer form but walks face first into a charm, that's just free damage for Ahri. But obviously, his damage in a straight up damage trade is probably going to be much higher than Ahri's, at the very least until level 6. And we are potentially seeing Gornagle coming in this bot lane.
Yeah, Gornagle is looking to see what he can get. There was a tri-bush ward, so I don't think he's quite been spotted yet. He is going to come in. Zuchi is going to get stuck in the vines. Turgen just getting out with the ignite ticking Pose. Dropped very low. Nardius will pick that up. Looks like it might be a double barrier has been used now, though, so Nardius flashes forward, gets the last auto attack, but here comes Amazing, does get that staggering blows proc. Gornagle has to be careful as well. There's that mini stun that's going to come out, means that Amazing isn't quite able to catch on for it, but 2 kills go to Nardius in that, so after a little bit of a shaky start with that early trade, Nardius now hopefully for himself will have that somewhat of a better footing in lane now with a 2-1 scoreline.
Yeah, he's going to be doing pretty solidly now. Obviously, he's still going to have the range problem where Caitlyn can poke him with auto attacks, hiding behind the minions to avoid the mystic shots, but in a straight up damage trade, he is now probably going to be better off. He has also picked up that Vamp Scepter, so that's going to give him the sustain that his opponent lacks severely. So, obviously the Doran's Blade proc is nice, but tends to fall off the longer the game goes on, and obviously Vamp Scepter will be super nice on Ezreal, who can apply it very, very quickly with that Mystic Shot, compared to any kind of normal AD carry. I mean, he can, in the early game, almost essentially apply it twice as fast, which is pretty significant when it comes down to it, especially if you're trying to push the lane really, really hard. But anyway, Elise in this top lane, giving Glucose a bit of a hard time. You can see him down on that kind of 1/3 health, and actually, again, Gornagle heading towards this bot lane.
Yeah, it looks like Gonagal really wants to make sure that both Dirtgen and Nadias have as easy a time as they can against this Caitlyn Sona bot lane, because Caitlyn and Sona are going to push quite hard, so they need to make sure that they don't lose too much presence in this bottom lane if that turret goes down, because that becomes a dangerous time because it opens up the dragon pit for them. So Gonagal's actually spending a lot of time staying down here. He did, of course, get the 2 assists earlier, which has put him somewhat, in good stead here and can spend a little bit of time outside of the jungle. But we also have to keep our eyes up on the top lane, because Amazing is heading into that lane. Elise is a little bit more difficult to gank, but in that bot lane as well, they've gone on towards Zuchi. Has that flail swinging around Zuchi. Looks like he is going to go down up at the top lane. YoloZilla might be about to get out. I'm not sure whether he's used the repel. Does look like it was used to get away, so managed to get away in that top lane, and they picked one up in the bottom lane. So overall that worked out really well for Bench, and it was worth Gonagal spending his time in that bottom lane.
Yeah, and Gonagal actually has rotated around now. He went back up the river, back behind Pose, but it looks like he's just going to recall. Not going to be able to get that kill after all. Does not dare to do it, I think because obviously Pose does have damage debuff, does have that slow, and obviously they didn't know whether Pose was still in the lane, and it might have just been a waste of time. As a result, obviously going to head back. Gonagal going to head back into his jungle. Hasn't been there in a little while. Obviously his buffs will be starting to pop up fairly shortly. These first buff pop up in about a minute. And actually, no, Pose got destroyed at bot. Wasn't paying attention. There we go. I'm a genius. But still, we have, junglers kind of resuming their normal path.
It's okay. Normally it's me that does that. It's talking about something completely different that isn't on screen. But I did manage to catch that. They did use the Ignite from Dirtgen to make sure that Sona's health was ticking down. She was trying to just hold the wave off the tower as much as possible, which is something that supports will commonly do. But overstayed her welcome just a little bit too much, and with that Ignite on off cooldown, they were able to pretty much just take her down with a nice last Mystic shot in behind the tower. So another good pick up there in that bottom lane, and a 3-1-on-1 Ezreal is going to be pretty difficult to deal with as this game goes on. That's going to accelerate his build through the mid-game phase and help him pick up some important items. Has got the Tear of the Goddess now, so he can start stacking that, and Boots is going to give him that extra mobility in lane as well. So Ezreal is well on his way to becoming the mid-game terror that Ezreal can be.
Yeah, and obviously he's a little bit behind on CS, 33 to 48 on Caitlyn, but the kills are going to more than make up for that. Gluco's taking a lot of damage in this top lane. YoloZilla just putting down the stun, the spiderling, and the neurotoxin with the venomous bite to follow. But not going to be quite going down. There is obviously extreme danger if you wish to dive a Malphite, because if you aren't pixel perfect with that repel, obviously you're gonna die. Well, you won't necessarily die, but you're certainly gonna get locked down under tower, slowed, and that is really not where you want to be locked down and slowed. And he's again going aggressive here. Has actually gone in with the repel. Not gonna be going for him though. Back out instead. Amazing is waiting in the wings here. He does have the boots. He does have the Spirit Stone. They are going to be having this wave push out too. So wouldn't be surprised to see him move through the lane brush now. Gluco's hiding in. They have a good setup here. Obviously, repel is not going to be available immediately. It's obviously not off cooldown, but she does have to switch form, and Glucose is here. Going to get stunned out. Nothing happens. Maybe like to have seen Amazing move in a little bit fast. So I know that's me being very picky, but as soon as that repel's on cooldown, Elise is pretty vulnerable. She either has to burn a flash or just end up dying if she's that low health. I mean, Amazing obviously knows what he's doing, so pretty much didn't really want to risk that. Maybe they were a little concerned that they would have lost Malphite in that. So better to play safe, but maybe could have forced a flash there. Who knows? Just one of those things that is a little bit dependent on how you want to play the game out. Nadius now still a little bit behind on CS, as we said though, 3 and 1 up, is starting to stack that tier up. Not stacking all that quickly, but it is a pretty difficult item to stack on Ezreal because he's fairly mana heavy before you start stacking that later into the game. So it looks like they're just trying to play out this lane by trying to just counteract that push. Gonagal's been down there a fair amount, is just trying to make sure that they're keeping things safe. Fairly close in this mid lane. You see 79 CS to the 74. Gonagal has been caught out by Amazing, but the dredge line isn't quite going to hit. And I'm a little bit surprised actually by that mid lane chase. I feel can farm pretty easily. I'm a little bit surprised that there hasn't been a bit more of a CS advantage. But we've seen Lego My Ego playing Ahri before, I'm pretty sure, and we know that his Ahri is very strong. Yeah, Ari does have some good wave clear. Obviously that Q, obviously that W has that innate sustain as well on her passive that's actually quite often forgotten about. But she does actually look like maybe Bimbo was looking to roam, but not gonna be able to get it. He has actually got that ward out in the lane there, and that's actually really nicely placed because it's just meaning that every time Lego My Ego goes anywhere that isn't the creeps, he's gonna get hit by that shock blast, and it's making it very, very difficult for him to take that blue. You actually saw him getting kind of pushed off it once, I think, before. Suchi putting down damage on that Ezreal in that bottom lane. They are continuing to go for this. They have also got both junglers here, so amazing. I wasn't looking for it, but did not actually go for it in the end. So now it's Gornagal's potential time. Pose is going to be going for this. Has warded it. We've got Gornagal in the brush, spotted out. Not going to be going aggressive though. He's just going to be backing out.
Yeah, neither jungler quite got much there, but they good warding out from both teams actually to make sure that they weren't seen all that quickly. There was actually pink ward in one of the lane brushes, which they denied a ward out from benched. So both of these teams playing pretty much a game of chess here in this bottom lane and trying to keep vision for themselves. So back and forth on those wards. Overall, there's about a 2,000 gold lead on the side of benched. We'll see how they can work on that. As yet, no team has really found their position in front of Dragon. Nobody's really had that time. As Amazing is actually going on towards Bimbo, but it does pull back. Gornagal is there as well, so fairly defensive play in most of the lanes. As we say that, Nadius is pushing up towards the tower with Dirtgen. Has stepped on a trap, so needs to be careful that Suchi doesn't turn the damage back around.
Yeah, obviously there's always that potential for that Piltover net ace in the hole, and that's quite a lot of damage that he can't really respond to. And if he gets low enough, he will be forced out of the lane. Obviously, Suchi will push very, very fast as a result. And then he will obviously lose a little more CS, and Suchi has been caught here. Crescendo goes across Dirtgen, and he's going to be trying to back out here. A True Shot Barrage goes across as well, and we've got the Stranglethorns going down. Ace in the hole hits Nadius. We've got the teleport from Glucose. He's getting in on that. He's got Zyra. We've got Nadius now going very low. Bimbo A teleporting in as well. Glucose wants to pick up Nadius. He's going to be keeping on aggression here. We've got Suchi flashing in. Doesn't get it, but he's now going to be in a bit of trouble. He's right next to Bimbo, who's going to be going aggressive. Barrier pops, keeps Suchi alive. Glucose now sticking. Suchi going to be backing out, and I don't think they're going to pick up Bimbo here, or maybe they will actually. He's going under the tower, he's going aggressive, he's got the E, he's got the auto. Well played there by Glucose, and that's equalized the gold count quite a lot more.
Yeah, now 1,000 gold rather than the 2,000, but that's the problem with running teleport in a lane, is if you leave it, you can end up losing your tower. So good capitalizing on that by Gornagal and YOLOzilla. Of course, Skittering Frenzy is actually going to deal a lot of damage to the tower with those spiderlings. Meanwhile, in that mid lane though, Bimbo is suffering the same fate because he teleported out of lane, and Lego My Ego and Amazing have picked that one up. So as soon as one of the teams starts to get somewhat of a gold lead, the other team seems to take it back pretty quickly, and now YOLOzilla and Gornagal have to be careful here. They know that Amazing is heading up. They aren't too sure that Lego is there as well, but he is about to turn that corner. YOLOzilla uses a repel to get over to Amazing. Charm doesn't quite land. There's the depth charge on. Orb of Deception lands. A brilliant ultimate out of Gornagal is going to save himself, but YOLOzilla is just caught out a little too much, so the four of them chasing get one kill, and now we're down to 500 gold. But again, as we say that, gold turns in one way. Bimbo and Dirtgen now pushing in the mid lane. I don't think they can get this turret though.
No, they're going to put a lot of damage down on it. It's down now to, you know, a little bit under half health, and Glucose is going to be going right through the middle. He's actually got to be careful he doesn't get rooted. He isn't quite unbelievably tanky enough yet to just completely ignore them, but they are actually completely ignoring him at the moment, throwing in that shock blast. Actually, Glucose taking a bit of damage. He's going to be getting, you know, just taking the root though. He's in trouble now. Bimbo 8 going under the tower. Dirtgen tanks it. Bimbo 8 takes the kill. Just the setup they wanted. They're going to take that mid tower, but the top tower gets taken in return. Lego My Ego, Pose, and Amazing pick that up, and we got the AD carry one-on-one duel down in bottom lane.
Yeah, and we've gone from no towers down in the game now to 4 towers very quickly over the last 2 minutes. And it's been pretty much the sequence of mid tower and top tower go down, then mid tower and top tower go down for the other teams. So trading blow for blow really even here in this game, and it's nice to see a game that's pretty even. But you see Gornagal is going on towards Lego My Ego, forced to flash out over the wall, and that gets himself to safety. And there's a number of wards out on the side of the Dongsquad, and it doesn't really look like as yet Bench have quite found their footing to get that. Does Zyra? Yes, she does have a sight stone, so we'll get wards out on the map pretty soon then. Pretty important ward in that mid lane to spot out where the team are walking. And you can track them pretty much through as they cross from their own jungle to yours by using that mid lane ward when those turrets are down. So now you see DirtGen has been able to get the wards up, and now the vision's pretty much even for both teams.
Yeah, and still no dragon attempts by either team. And I think both of them are going to be well aware of that. Suchi in bottom lane has been strangled, has been rooted. He's going to go down. True Shot Barrage picks that up, and now I think we're probably going to be seeing a dragon attempt. If we don't, I'll probably eat my own hat. So obviously they are actually just going to go for the pressure on this tower. That's also a very valid option for them. But Nardius is going to be unable to take this, and the thing is, in a 4-man on 4 on 5, they still can't really afford to go for the dive, especially having used some ultimates there. So I'd expect them to go for this dragon. They can afford to fight 5v4 on that, as long as they don't get too many people caught out by too much CC at once. And actually in the middle, Ari, Lego, my ego in trouble. YOLOzilla, he actually face plants the wall. He's got the angry spider on him, but he's going to get out of the wall. And now the fight, a dragon is kicked off. We've got Crescendo going across. We got Nadi's in no trouble at all, actually. He's jumping over the wall. He's getting out of there. Glucose is actually going to chase him down. He's going to get caught by Amazing. Gornagle now getting into the middle of things. Amazing going to be having to flash out. Has been ignited. He's going to get out in turn. Glucose now in trouble. He's got YOLOzilla, but he's too tanky. He's a rock. He's walking on out, and nobody takes the dragon. Overall, though, a 2-for-1 trade.
And chat, as they say, would like to see somebody eat a hat, but you said nobody takes the dragon. Dongsquad actually had prepared to take dragon earlier by dropping that pink ward. No pink ward out yet from bench has meant that as soon as everybody disengages that dragon, they pretty much know that they can put their own damage down onto dragon and take it for position. But oh, what a steal out of YOLOzilla to actually take down that dragon. Put the ward, distracted them for a little bit, and YOLOzilla takes the gold for his team. Really nice steal out by YOLOzilla. So no hat needs to be eaten, guys. Spuddington can keep his apparel in one piece for now.
I could always have made a hat out of like sugar. If you did that, that thing that chefs do, where you get like boiled sugar and then you like cool it really like fast in like a mesh, and then make a hat out of it, so you look really silly.
Okay, so we got Culinary School with Spuddington. This is a new video series we're gonna do.
I'm not sure I can match up to Chef Mints, so I'm not. I refuse to challenge him on that. So
I must say though, I don't think a sugar hat would be quite the most practical use, because when it rains, it's just gonna turn to mush, and yeah, it's gonna look like a bird's had a nasty accident.
Yeah, but then if you have water running down your head, and you lick it, it'll be sweet.
That is,
and it will give you energy on a cold day. You see, you just don't even think about these things, man. This is, seriously. And actually, Amazing is in bot lane.
I was going to say, there's probably a reason I'm not thinking about that right now, because we are in the middle of a semi-final game here in the EUS Challenger Series number 6, and after that dragon's gone down now, it's pretty much just these bot towers that people are positioning for. I mean, this is about the time where roughly all 3 would be down, but there is a little bit of gold stored in those towers, and that's why Amazing is staying down here, because he has a feeling he can catch on towards Nardius, but has to be able to land that dredge line. Suchi and Pose are trying to push it through, and Amazing actually says, nope, can't wait too much longer around here. Meanwhile, up in top, Bimbo and YOLOzilla are heading up. Shock Blast will give away the positioning of Bimbo, but they pretty much... Oh, Unstoppable Force on top. Can Glucose get the work done here? Here comes Lego My Ego as
can you hear me?
I can, but I don't know whether you can hear me. I've been talking. YOLOzilla actually is going to pick up one for himself. Lego My Ego is now pulling it back down in towards his jungle after getting a double kill. I'm not sure who people can hear. I figured I'd keep casting. Bass, who can still be heard on stream.
I can hear you both, and mid-fight, what is it? Just like, what's going on?
Okay, I'm very confused. DirtGen actually takes the ace in the hole. Pose trying to catch on, but Stranglethorns will deter him off. There is the depth charge, though. Pretty much means DirtGen gets caught out by the dredge line. Do we have both of us here, or is it just me?
I can hear you now. Whereas
I
before,
can hear
I could
you
not,
now.
I could not hear you before. That was confusing me deeply. And in fact, TeamSpeak kept disconnecting, and it was showing in the little thing in the bottom right that I had very low connection to it. So I was assuming that I was just talking to myself. But from what I can tell from chat, I was actually not talking to myself. And actually, Amazing is getting aggressive on Nadius there, but he's just going to be hooking himself out of there. They have got YOLOzilla coming in from the side. He's not going to go for that though. They're just going to be getting the farm out on Nadius, keeping that tower up. And, just backing out. Tucci obviously hanging around in the lane though.
Okay, I think we're at a point where both of us can hear each other, and that's very strange that all of us could be heard on stream, but none of us could hear each other. I've not had that one before. That's a new one. Right, let's have a look at where we are itemization-wise. Jace has finished Last Whisper, has himself a Brutalizer as well, and a Mana Mune. So he's well on his way to that poke build. Let's see how stacked it is. 716 already, so will turn to that more mana fairly soon. Needlessly large rod on Elise actually is going to mean she's going to do a lot of damage alongside that Haunting guys as well. So this is around about the time where Benched are going to have a lot of damage to put out.
Yeah, I feel like Benched are now kind of entering their power hour, which is a phrase I haven't used in a while. But they are. This is kind of their point where their comp is really going to shine, and that's when they want to try and organize some things, kind of secure themselves a lead now. Obviously, though, their comp will remain relevant throughout the entire game, and they're not. It's not one of those things where their opponent's composition is particularly weak at this stage. They're also actually kind of peaking pretty much now as well. I mean, their hard engage abilities are currently probably doing as much damage as they're going to, proportional to the other people's health. And obviously their mobility is strong, so we could be seeing some action going down. Dirtgen and Gornagle hanging around in this tri-brush here.
Pose is straying towards that bush, actually uses the crescendo to try and save himself, but the True Shot Barrage swiped through him. Here comes Glucosa and Amazing from the side, however, Dirtgen trying to get away. He's actually going to stay alive for just another second, but an unstoppable force is going to knock them up. Glucosa does fall though. Amazing trying to land as much CC as he can. Depth charge goes, there's the flash over the wall by Amazing. Can they land any more damage here? Zuchi has to be a little bit careful, he's way out on his own. YOLOzilla does stand between himself and the team. Cocoon is going to land, explosive spiraling. Barrier pop by Zuchi, there is the Neurotoxin out of YOLOzilla to pick up the fight. And YOLOzilla picks himself up a couple of kills there at the end of that fight, just for being in the right place at the right time. So good awareness by YOLOzilla to come down and join them for that fight. And Amazing is going to stay around a little bit to try and take that blue. It looks like Gornagle is going to move in with YOLOzilla to try and take that out. Actually, Amazing gets caught, another kill, but that one's a shutdown for YOLOzilla.
Yeah, and I've got to say, that last fight, you may not have thought about, like, I'm gonna sound, I'm sounding rude again, but you may not have noticed, but the ward in the tri-brush was actually, it was a red ward. That, I mean, Pose walked right up to them to crescendo, and actually there's fight going on. We have Pose in trouble here. They are getting aggressive. Red buff is on YOLOzilla. The auto attack is going down. That is going to pick up the kill shortly. Nadius now in trouble. Dodges the charm. He's going to be going aggressive here. Has got the arcane shift down. Has had to force the flash out of Leg of My Ego. So it looks like they're going to be backing off here. And yeah, like I say, Pose, the one who actually got caught and got bursted there almost instantly, he knew that the opponents were in there. There was a pink ward in there. They knew they had no wards, and he saw Gornagle and he saw Dirtgen in there, but he still got caught. So I feel like maybe he wasn't expecting them to react so aggressively, or perhaps he underestimated their amount of burst. But anyway, he got bursted out, and obviously his team was a little bit slow to follow up. The teleport from Glucose was also kind of a, maybe a second or two later than I would have expected, had they been intending to go in that together. And obviously, if, Crescendo had gone across and instant Gornagle arrived, that could have been a lot more interesting, could have been a lot more disastrous. Leg of My Ego is in a lot of trouble. Bimbo 8 picks that up with just a clean auto attack. 500 gold shutdown from that though.
Yeah, Lego was at 400 at that point and was actually recalling on a ward, which they weren't too aware of. Pink ward has gone down on top of that, but Pose can't quite find the time to get that with Jace still around. Very interesting item has been picked up as well, as YOLOzilla actually is going to try and catch out Amazing here. They do get the roots down onto him. YOLOzilla goes to a rampage. Jace has picked up a Yomu's Ghost Blade, or Yumo's Ghost Blade, I can't talk, that item, and we don't see it a lot. Glucose and Pose actually getting caught out here, and True Shot Barrage, don't think quite clipped Glucose as he flashed around it, but they got dropped very low, and that means that benched. Now we're going to look to take down the Baron.
Yeah, Pose is going to stick around though. He has the heals and he has the potential to go in for a suicide ultimate here. He could just charge into the middle of them. He doesn't have that flash. Ace in the hole comes down. Nardius is going to be in trouble here. He's there. Got it. They got the Baron very, very low, though. Gornagle is here. Smite actually wasn't used, so that could have potentially gone very wrong for them. But that Baron is very good. And now Lego My Ego is going to get caught by that ultimate. They're going to be chasing this down. They've got the flash going down. YOLOzilla now going to be trying to get Lego My Ego, who Zhonya's does not keep him alive. They are now chasing this. Gornagle has no ultimate. He can't pin down these guys, but he is going to try. Going for the aggression. Depth Charge goes down, though. Counter engage from Glucose, getting aggressive as heck on YOLOzilla. Zhonya's now gets popped. They're going to be running now. Suchi in trouble. The counter engage comes down, and they pick up the kills there, getting the clean ace with the Baron on top of it. This is going to be big.
And actually, the GG well played is coming out there by the Dongsquad, so they pretty much just want to reset themselves here. They were about 9,000 gold behind in the end of that one, and I think they're just you know, a return to the top lane for Elise. We've seen her a lot in the jungle recently. Return to the top lane spelled to be quite troublesome for the Dongsquad. So great game there out of YOLOzilla, going 7-2-3 on that Elise. So impressive stuff out of both teams, in fact, because Dongsquad had a pretty much a great game. Lego going 4-0-0 right up until the end, where they got picked off twice quickly in succession, but I think that one just kind of snowballed away from them. They gave Ezreal those kills early on, accelerated him to the point where he had the Bloodthirster Iceborne Gauntlet with the Ionian Boots of Lucidity. And between him, Jason, and Elise, there was just so much damage. And don't forget, Gornagle going 2-0-6 had a lot of impact on that game in the laning phase.